Hi, I'm Pat Harriman, and this is the UCI podcast. Joining me today is Claudia Keller, a 1987 UCI graduate who earned her bachelor's degree in political science. She's also the winner of this year's Lauds and Laurels Distinguished Alumni Award for the School of Social Sciences. After enjoying an 18-year career as a successful marketing and public relations executive in the fashion industry, Claudia turned her talents to the nonprofit sector. Since 2005, she's worked for organizations that focus on foundational needs such as health and education, including the American Heart Association and LA Promise Fund. We're happy to have her back in Irvine, where she's currently serving as the Chief Mission Officer for the Second Harvest Food Bank of Orange County. She's working to expand the food bank's network of nonprofit partners who help them feed more than 250,000 hungry children, seniors, and families in the county every month. Claudia, thank you for joining the UCI podcast.
It's great to be here. Zot, zot.
So tell us about your Second Harvest.
So I joined Second Harvest, if you can believe it or not, on January 31st. I joined at a different time in a different world because about 2.5 weeks later, everything changed. I had actually been talking with the food bank leadership since last summer and accepted a job in October and had about a 3-month runway. And for 3 months at the end of last year, all I could do was anticipate my return to Irvine. And I thought it would be idyllic and wonderful and calm, and I would learn all this new stuff. Well, some of that stuff did happen. I did come home to Irvine and I have learned new stuff, but it's been anything but calm.
So how has the current situation affected your operations and mission?
Well, to put it bluntly, it has turned our operation on its ear. You can imagine with the peculiarities of COVID-19, we are having to deal with things that, no earthquake, fire, or hurricane could ever present you with. When the pandemic first hit, what we realized was that our whole social construct, and what I mean by that is that the food bank relies on volunteers, and our food pantries rely on volunteers for their operations. But that whole notion is premised on the idea of social gathering, folks coming together to meet and to work and to volunteer. So right away we knew that a big part of our organization would change, and it did. We had to quickly pivot to a model where we are buying food. As a nonprofit, we were used to enjoying donated food from individuals, from retailers, from supermarkets, and then again relying on those volunteers to inspect, sort, and pack the food. As a matter of fact, we enjoyed the donated labor of over 26,000 Orange County volunteers last year, and that's all gone. So that is the first big change we experienced.
So how would you say the impact has been so far?
Well, it's funny, this crisis has had two different facets to it. The first I alluded to, and that is the health facet, right? And not being able to have volunteers and social distancing and all of that. I think the more profound and what in essence has really changed for us is that the need has literally doubled in a month. We served over 500,000 individuals last month, the month of April. And that is because of the economic impact of COVID-19, the furloughs, the layoffs. We have our normal 250,000 folks that we serve, the working poor folks. But now you have a whole group of newly vulnerable folks that have never had to access emergency food before, never had to go to a pantry, have never applied for CalFresh. And that presents a new challenge to us. In addition to the sourcing issue and the volunteer issue, we had to learn how to distribute food to these people in place of all the pantries that were closing. So what we're doing every Saturday, this is our 8th weekend coming up, is we have a mass distribution. We're calling it a drive-through pantry at the Honda Center in Anaheim. And if you can believe it, Pat, we've had as many as 6,000 cars line up for 2 bags of food.
Wow. So what can the community do to help?
Well, with normally we would say volunteer, 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 but those opportunities, while there are some there, and we do accept volunteers at the Honda Center, the volunteer slots are limited. But if you are interested in volunteering, please go to our website and our volunteer opportunities are listed there. What is most crucial now is funding. And I know I sound like every nonprofit in Orange County when I say that, but now more than ever, the money is directly going to emergency food relief and will continue to do so probably for the next 12 months as we anticipate the pandemic and the crisis going on through the end of this calendar year. And more importantly, the philanthropic support, which has been wonderful. We already start to see it ebbing downward. And we anticipate that it will stop as businesses start to tighten their budgets in light of what's happening economically.
So how would you say your experience at UCI helped prepare you for your current role?
Oh, wow. Well, so UCI, like really one of the, besides having my son, one of the great experiences in my life. I came into UCI as a typical 18-year-old entering college, and that meant that I really wasn't well prepared. So I got there and it was kind of like drinking out of a fire hose. But with a wonderful community of folks there, which UCI represents to me, I quickly acclimated and learned what I needed to learn to not only survive there, but to thrive. My experience at the food bank has been, especially with this COVID-19 pandemic, has been somewhat similar in that I've had to get there, quickly assess what I need to do, what I need to learn, what I don't know, and where to turn to. So it does it takes me back to a time of innocence when I didn't exactly know what I was doing, but it was time to hit the ground running and perform. So UCI was a great life teacher in that respect, in many ways, but in that respect, I related to what I'm going through now.
So what makes you proud to be an Anteater?
Well, I'll go back to what I said, and really is that the UCI community to me is just that. It's a wonderful community that welcomed me as an 18-year-old and took me in. They didn't know who I was, but they took me in. They helped me grow up. When I went away, when I left 4 years later to embark on my life, I was able to leave and wave bye-bye, knowing that I had a good foundation and know that they would always be there for me. As I've gone through my life and kept in touch with all of my friends, whether they were friends from AS or friends from the Greek system or friends from all the activities that I had there, that community has always been there for me, even when I was working far away in Los Angeles. And today, as I return to Irvine for this phase of my life and my career, the UCI community has welcomed me back, and it's been wonderful to see my friends and my classmates in places of influence throughout Orange County, and it brings me all back. So to me, being an Anteater and UCI represents an amazing lifelong community that I will treasure until my last breath.
Well, that's great. Thank you so much for joining us, Claudia. And thank you for listening to the UCI podcast, which is a production of Strategic Communications and Public Affairs. And for more information about all things COVID-19, please visit oc-covid19.org.